Hi there, thanks for joining me today. I'm Tina Carini with SpongeandStamp.com, coming to you from Byron, Georgia. Okay, I have the cutest little bag to show you. I did a Facebook Live on it last Wednesday, but I had internet issues, so it kept freezing, and then I had phone issues to where the orientation wouldn't change on my phone. So I just decided to do a quick little video for you guys for YouTube and then to repost on my Facebook page as well. But this is the bag that we're doing. So those of you that seen it already, I'm so sorry, but maybe this one will be a little bit easier to see than last week's. But isn't this bag so super cute? I absolutely love it. And we're going to recreate this bag. Now stay to the end, because at the end I have some samples to show you of some elf bags too. Okay, so what we need is we need a front and a back piece. This is real red of cardstock, real red cardstock. We need a front and a back that measures 6 inches by 9.5 for both. And then we need 2 sides. And this is basic black, and it is 3.5 by 8.25. And I'm going to show you where to score it here in just a minute. And then we have the belt, which is, this is 1 7/8 inch wide by 6 inches long. We have a piece of scrap for stamping and die cutting. We have the centerpiece of our Santa suit. I don't know what they call it. Is it the sash, or it's that middle piece that goes down? So this is 1 1/4, I believe. I think it's 1 1/4. Oh, my ruler disappeared on me. Well, we'll just use this one. So I think it's 1 1/4. No, I'm sorry. It's 1.5 by 7 inches long. Then we have 2 pieces here. These are the straps to the bag. They are 1 inch by 11 inches long. I believe it's 11 inches long. It's the same size as your cardstock. Yes, 11 inches long. There for a minute, I wasn't sure if it was 11.5 or 11. Too many measurements, but it's 11 inches. This will be over on my blog by tomorrow morning with all the measurements and pictures and everything too. And then we have 2 little pieces here. These are for the sides of your bag. These are like little decorations. This is 3/4 of an inch wide by, what is it? By 2.5 inches. Okay. Then we have a scrap piece that we die cut our belt using our layering circles. And how I did that was I just took the size that I wanted my belt to be, my circle die. Then I took the other piece that I wanted the center to be so that I could have the width that I wanted, and just kind of centered that the best that I could, taped it down and run it through my Big Shot, or not Big Shot, but my Stampin' Cut and Boss machine, and got my little belt buckle. Now, there is another piece that you want to do with it. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I'm just going to use this, and I'm going to cut like maybe almost 1/4 of an inch, maybe, yeah, 1/4 of an inch. I don't have enough, but this right here, you can do it as wide as you want to, but oh, I cut that crooked. I see crooked, I cut crooked, I do everything crooked. Oh well, it is what it is. Okay, so I'm going to try. Figures on video, I'll mess this up, right? Get that straight. There we go. So there we go. We got that. So what you want to do with that, and this just adds a little something to it, is you just want to tack that down, glue it down, and you can trim this piece off. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that so that it will be drying good while we're assembling our bag. Okay, so I'm just going to use a little liquid glue, because that is my favorite glue to use, because it always gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And I'm just going to put some glue right there. I'm using my silicone mat because nothing sticks to it, and it is like the charm of charms. And then I'm just going to stick another little piece of glue right about there, I think, and just let that sit just like that. When that dries good, then I will, a little bit glue. I'll trim that off. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside and let that dry. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring our bag in. Oh, I have another scrap for die cutting, right? Oh, and then a red scrap to cut out a scallop circle using your layering circles as well. Okay, hopefully I did not confuse you guys on that. So let's bring this in. Let's bring our scoring tool in here. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your front and back. You're going to score those at 2.5 inches, just like so, with the long side at the top, or in portrait mode, score it at 2.5. We're going to put that aside. Then we're going to bring in our 2 side pieces. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to put it at the long side at the top. Oh, I'm not in the camera. Sorry, you guys. At the top, we're going to score that at 2.5. Then we're going to rotate it around. We're going to score it at 1/2 inch, 3 inches, and then we're going to flip it over and we're going to score it at 1 1/4. All the way, well, not all the way, but all the way down to about 1 inch from your bottom score line right here. And then you're just going to stop. Then you're going to do the same thing to the other side. This one I've already cut, but you're going to put it in. You're going to score it at 2.5. You're going to score it at 1/2 inch, 3 inches, flip it over, and score it at 1 1/4 inch to a stop about 1 inch before your bottom score line. Okay, that is all the scoring that we have to do. So now we're just going to do some folding and crease those score lines. So we're going to bring in our front and our back, and we're going to fold in on the score line, give that a nice crease. And hopefully I can get through this video tutorial before anybody comes popping through the door, because the door is right next to me. I'm going to give that a nice crease. Okay, so there's our front and our back. Now with this one, I'll show you what I did. So you have your side piece, and the part that you scored in the middle, you're going to flip it to the front side is where the mountain of that score is. See where you have, it goes in on the sides and then out in the center. You want that to be the outside of your bag. You're going to pinch that score line all the way down to where it ends. Then you're going to fold in on the side score lines, fold in on the mountain. If that, hopefully that made some sense. We're going to give that a nice crease. And then we're going to score in, or not score in, but fold in on the bottom score line. And then we have that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take some scissors, and I want to wedge the bottom of it like this is wedged right here. So what I'm going to do, I think the video froze. So what I'm going to do is just cut in like so. I'm just saving myself a little step is all I'm doing. If you don't feel comfortable to do that, you don't have to. You can take that extra little step and cut on the score line and then wedge it. But I am just going to go ahead and wedge this, cutting to the score line and then just cutting that piece right off. And then I'm all ready. Now I'm ready to assemble my bag. And let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is both of these are down where your folds are going towards the tabletop. You're going to line them up with the score lines down here. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. So you're going to line your bottom score lines and line the side of your red piece to the side of the score line. Hopefully that is making perfect sense. Okay, so just like that. So I'm going to use some glue. This is the easiest way for me to do it. If you have an easier way, by all means, go right ahead and do that. But this is what works for me. You could do it where you fold this in, and then line it up that way. But it's easier for me to do it this way because I can see the fold lines better and the score line. So just like so. And then if I have any questions, I can fold it and make sure that it's that it's right. And it is. Okay, so that's one side. Now we're going to take the other side and we're going to do the same thing. So you're going to line this up just like so. Okay. Where the bottom is the bottom. Did I do that right? Yeah, I did. Okay, did I pinch this side? I did. All right. Just wanted to make sure. Sometimes you just question yourself. Okay, so we're going to put some glue on this. Just like that. I am going to line the bottom score lines up with each other. Oops, I made a little mess there. Hopefully you guys can see I'm in the picture well enough. I hope so. I apologize. My phone holder is, I need a shelf built so that I can put my phone up higher. Right now it's just on a stack of books. Okay, so I see that that is pretty good. I can move this one just a little bit more like so. All right, there we go. Now we're going to attach the other side and we're just going to do the same thing just like that. So let me go ahead and do that. Just like so. You want a strong adhesive when you're making these bags because you don't want them to fall apart on whoever you give them to. So I am going to do just like so. And I'm going to fold that and make sure that I am okay. And I think I am. All right, so now for this last part, all you have to do is fold this. I'm going to fold this, give this a little bit more crease. Fold this one over just like so and line it up. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put some glue on here. Hopefully this made sense to you guys. Again, you can always rewatch it, stop it, rewind it as you put together your bags, however you want to do it. That is the beauty of videos. So this is just going to get lined up a little bit better. Well, maybe it will. I think my glue already dried. Oh, it's all right. It's nothing but a thing. All right, so that's that. So then you just pick which side you like the best to, and I think this is going to be my front. So this is going to be my front, so I want this piece here to fold towards the back. So I am going to fold this piece down. I'm going to load that up with some glue. I'm going to fold the side pieces down. Side one, side two. All right, and then I'm going to put some more glue right here. You can also use tear and tape. You could use your Stampin' Seal Plus, whichever glue you like the best. All right, and then we're just going to line that up, push that down, flip it over. I'm going to use my bone folder to kind of push that down. You can get it nice and stuck. And then, let's see, which one was my, so this is my front side. So now what I'm gonna do, and you can decorate this too before you actually put your bag together, but for me it's easier if I decorate it before I put it after I put it together. So I'm gonna center this piece right across here. So I'm gonna put some glue on this, just like so. Flip this over. Gosh, I'm trying so hard to make sure I am in the video. And then just flip it just like so. So there we go. Just like that. And then this could come down just a little bit more. Well, just a little bit more. Oh, there we go. Very good. Okay. Just like that. And then what we're going to do is I've already die cut our circle out. So you can just take your dies and use your measurement, just use your eye and eyeball about how big you want it to be. If you have the layering squares that have retired, but you have them, those would make great collars too. And it's the same principle. Just cut it, and then we're going to cut this in half. I am just folding this in half and kind of pinching the sides a little bit so that I can kind of sort of see where the center is. That's what works for me. So you might have a better way of doing it, but that is what works for me. All right, so there I go. So that's gonna go up here and up here. Let's move this. And we're gonna adhere that by using glue. And I don't care if my whole circle is glued down, just as long as my top is glued. And I'm just gonna line that right up to the edge, just like so. We're gonna do the same thing to the other side. You can use embossing folders to give your collar and your centerpiece texture. I did use an embossing folder for my belt. I will show you that when we get to it. If you have puff paint, Stampin' Up had puff paint last year or the year before, I can't remember. Might have been the year before. That if you still have some of that, that would work great too, because you could put that on your collar and your centerpiece and it would be absolutely fantastic. Okay, there we go. So there we go so far. So what do you think? I'm loving it. All right, so let's do our straps. So our straps, we're gonna take our bone folder, and my dad is here, so it's gonna get quite noisy when he comes in the door. He's 80 years old and he's not quiet. So I'll try to catch him. Okay, so all I did was take my bone folder and give this a little curl so that it twists better. Now this part I do recommend using tear and tape, because once it's stuck, it's stuck. And with the glue, we kind of have to hold it a little bit, but it'll be fine. So we're just gonna do just like that. Then you're gonna put it right where you want it, which is right about there. And any glue that is sticking out, I will, I'll use my glue eraser and get rid of it. So we're just gonna hold that there just a little bit. You're gonna see me disappear. I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna have to warn my dad that I'm doing a video so that he will be a little bit quiet. Sometimes it takes him a few minutes to get out of the door, out of the car, into the house. So if you see me drop things, that's why. And again, I'm so sorry. I wanted this video to be better than my other one, than my Facebook Live. Okay, so what you do here is you can line your strips up to the back strips, or you can just kind of eyeball it, which is what I'm gonna do for this one. I'm just gonna eyeball it, and I'm gonna hold those. Just hold them down just for a second or two, and okay, so I'll be right back. Just give me 1 second. Hey, Dad, I'm doing a video, so when you come in, just turn quiet. When you come in, just be quiet. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. We're almost done here anyway. Okay, so I'm bringing in my 2 strips. Those are going to go right on the side like so. You can score them in half if you'd like to, but I find it easier just to place them on there, and then when I pinch the sides, it works just fine. So I am just going to put some glue on this. I'm actually going to put probably more glue than I need to, because I really want this wiggle room and I really want it to stick well. So I'm just going to kind of center that on there, just like so. Kind of hold that in place. And then when I pinch this, it pinches. So it works just like that. So let's do the same thing to this side here. Okay. And we're gonna line that right up to the top here, just like so. Make sure that that is all good. Looks good to me. And then we're just gonna pinch that just like so. All right, so that is that. Now it is time for our belt. So the belt, I told you I ran through an embossing folder, so doesn't that give that an amazing texture to it? I think that that is awesome. What I used is these mini embossing folders. It is the greenery embossing folder. You get 2 of them in the pack. And I used this one. I just thought that that would make a great texture for a belt. And that's what I used, just to kind of spruce this up a little bit and make it look a lot fancier. So let's bring in our belt buckle. And like I said, we're just gonna trim this off just like that. I am gonna weave in, I didn't get that exactly centered either. We're gonna weave this in and out under that and through that. We may have to give this a little trim. And then we're just gonna weave that and weave that, just like so. Now, if my belt was just a little bit skinnier, you'd be able to see that piece we put in there a little better, which is okay. It's just not centered, but you guys get the idea, right? All right, so there we go. So I am just gonna adhere that down just like so. We are almost done. We just have our sentiment, whoa, 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 our sentiment to put on and our little bow. And then I'll show you some samples of some other ones that are absolutely adorable. Oh, this bag is so much fun to make. Okay, so we can, I need to pull this over just so that it's more centered. So just like so. And then we're just gonna push that down. I'm gonna come in from this way so I can put a little pressure on that. And there we go. Isn't that just absolutely adorable? A little Santa bag. Okay, so let's do our sentiment. So for our sentiment, we're gonna do a little embossing. So I'm gonna put some embossing powder in there. I'm gonna bring in my Versamark, and I'm using 2 sentiments from 2 different stamp sets. I'm bringing in Perfectly Plaid. I'm gonna use Ho Ho Ho. I really love this Merry Christmas, but it's a little big for my tag. So I'm bringing in For Unto Us to use this Merry Christmas right here. All right, so we're gonna ink up the Merry Christmas in the Versamark, and then we're just gonna stamp that down in the center, but kind of up towards the top of the center. Does that make sense? Because you want to give room for your die cutting. And then we're going to close this up. We're going to bring in our black embossing folder and a piece of scrap paper, not embossing folder, embossing powder. And we are going to just sprinkle that on there and tap that off. I want a little bit more down here. And I think that if you don't like it, you can take a paintbrush and just kind of do so. You can flick it too, flick it on the back, and sometimes that helps. So just like so, and I think I'm okay with the way that is. All right, so now I'm just gonna dump this back into my little jar, and we're gonna close this up. We're gonna turn on our heat tool. This thing is fantastic. I would be so lost without this. I know I've told the story many, many times that heat embossing is actually what got me started in paper crafting years and years and years ago. And it wasn't from Stampin' Up, it was Martha Stewart, because I had not heard of Stampin' Up. It was around, I just didn't hear about it, and I watched Martha Stewart, and she made these cutest little, what do you call it? Napkin ring holders using paper and heat embossing, and it was and ribbon, and it was so pretty that I had to do it and fell in love with it. Unfortunately, I did not know about Stampin' Up, and there wasn't a whole lot of paper crafting in your big box stores. So all I did was heated it until it was shiny, and then I knew that it was done. So now I'm gonna bring in my Ho 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 Real Red ink and ink this up. And I am going to try to get this centered and straight. Good luck with that. And it is not, but it is okay. So, because I already have one made up. So just in case I did something silly like that. Then I'm going to take my circle. This is the same circle that I used to cut out this. So that was that part of it. So I'm going to take that. You take this over to your embossing machine and die cut this out. Okay, your embossing cut machine. All right, so since I already have one done, here we go. The only thing is with this one was done in, excuse me, in Poppy Parade, but it'll be all right. So I'm gonna adhere this to my red scallop layer that I cut out using my layering circles and just chose what side, how much of the layer I wanted it to show. So we're gonna just adhere that right like so. You're gonna let that dry for a couple of seconds. I'm gonna put the cap on my glue. I'm gonna bring in a hole punch. This is retired Stampin' Up, but you can use any hole punch that you want. This is 1/8 of an inch. I am gonna bring in some baker's twine and I'm gonna cut off a piece. I'm gonna bring this right in through here. Try to anyway. Well, fiddle. Okay, so why won't that go through for me? All right, there we go. And then I'm gonna pull that through. Well, attempt to. I got butterfingers or something. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna pull that through. Oh, now my husband's home. Uh-oh. Okay, I think I picked a bad time to do the video. Okay, so there we go. So that's gonna go like that. We're gonna bring this right around here, like so. I'm just gonna tie this on here. You can tie it any way that you'd like, whatever you prefer. Tie that right on there. I want this to be more over to this side though. So just like that, I'm gonna tie a knot. And then I'm gonna give this a trim. Just like that. And then you can hide that in the back if you'd like, or you can keep it right there because we're gonna put a bow. So I am taking the black and white gingham ribbon that is in the mini catalog. It is actually part of one of the Halloween suites, but as you can tell, you can use this ribbon for anything. I love this ribbon. Okay, so I'm just tying a cute little bow, just like so. I'm gonna give this a little trim. I'm gonna use my ribbon scissors so that it trims nicer, just like that. I'm gonna use a glue dot. Pull out a glue dot right here, right there. Pick that off, and that is going to go just like so. And then there we go. So I think I do kind of want this to go in the back, just like that. And there we go. There is our cute little Santa bag. Okay, so let me show you the samples of the other ones that I've done that you guys are going to absolutely love. So let me show you them. I've got, okay, so I have another Santa that I did all in white. This one I put gold buttons, and I did use the retiring layering squares on this one. And then we did a Mrs. Claus. So I used the holiday rhinestones to make a necklace. I used a smaller belt buckle using the layering circles, gave her a scalloped collars and a scalloped sash down the center. For the sash, I did use a retired die from the Stitch to Be Mine, but there are tons, or not tons, but there are dies out there that have those straight scallops in our catalog and in the mini catalog that you can get. These are the layering circles. I just use the scallops. I use the tidings and trimmings and tidings and trimmings. Which one is it? Tidings and trimmings dies for the Christmas bundle for that, for the holly leaves and the berries. And then on this one, I also did stitching, faux stitching for the straps, the sides, and around the sentiment by just using the Stampin' Chalk marker. And I think that that really gives it something really cute too. So then here I used, this is my elf, this is the guy elf. So I use the layering squares. If you don't have them, you can use the layering circles. They work just fine. I use the layering circles for our sentiment. I use the square for the collar. This, I use the border dies. So I used that. I used the zigzag one. Then I made a bow for him. And this is from the Celebration Bedazzling designer paper. So if you have any of that, that would be perfect for this to make the belt and the bow. And the sentiment comes from the Perfectly Plaid. So I just used North Pole, and I just didn't ink up the sides. I put some masking tape over it, or Scotch tape actually, over it when I inked it up, and then took it off so that it wouldn't have that on there. And then we did, we did our Mrs. Elf too. So I just used the basic pearls for a necklace. The same thing for the belt buckle. The scalloped collar is just a scallop circle die cut in half. I used May Your Days Be Merry and Bright. And I believe that is from, it is from the Tidings and Trimmings. And I used the dies that come with that bundle for the holly leaves and the berries. So I hope that you guys like this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I hope that you do so by clicking that red subscribe button down below. If you want to be a part of my newsletter, my email list, I will have a link down below as well for where you can subscribe to that. It's perfectly free. I send monthly emails out and periodically emails out on anything that's special, spur of the moment, or whatever. All my class listings are in there and all things Stampin' Up. Okay, did I miss anything? Oh, ring that little bell icon too so that you get notified of any new videos that I upload. And again, I will have all the measurements and pictures up on my blog by tomorrow morning. And thank you again so much for watching this video, and I really hope you give this bag a try. Just let your imagination flow and have fun stamping. Till the next time, toodaloo-doo.